You think you know what really happened in space, but you do not. You have been told a story about heroes, glory, and exploration, but what if your version of history is missing a few bodies floating in the dark? You have seen the photos, the smiling faces, the flags waving in victory, but behind those images, there is something you were never meant to hear. You are about to walk into the silence of space where truth gets buried deeper than any crater on the moon. You are part of this story now because your curiosity keeps you here. You remember the date even if you were not there. November 28th, 1960. Two Italian radio operators were scanning the night, searching for Soviet satellite signals. Your imagination can already hear it. The static, the cold hum of space. Then suddenly, a sound cut through the silence. A rhythm, a pattern, a message that no one expected. It was a signal moving away from Earth, and your pulse would have dropped the moment they decoded it. It was 3 simple letters, SOS. That code hit like a scream through your speakers. You feel it now because you know it means someone was alive, calling from beyond your reach. You imagine that helpless voice fading, drifting further, the Doppler effect stretching your fear with every second. You picture the operators frozen, knowing they had just captured a human cry swallowed by the void. You would have done the same thing. Kept listening. Heart pounding. This story never left your mind because it challenges what you believe about space. You are told space is controlled, safe, a triumph of human intelligence, but it never was. It was a battlefield. You and your world were caught in a cold war that reached the stars. Your governments turned the universe into a stage for propaganda. Your fear of the other side kept you blind while the real stories were erased. The truth was never meant for your ears. You see, during the Cold War, the race for space was never about discovery. It was about domination. Your leaders wanted the sky itself to be theirs. Every launch was a weapon of pride. Every silence was a cover-up. The Soviets reached orbit first, sent the first man, the first woman, even the first dog. You might have celebrated those wins if you lived on that side, but you would never have been told about the failures. You would never have known how many bodies fell before one man smiled for the cameras. You have heard of Vladimir Komarov. You picture his capsule spinning out of control, parachute failing, the fireball falling back to Earth. You are told it was a malfunction, but you know better. You know he flew a ship that engineers warned would kill him. You know your human pride put him there anyway. You are told about Yuri Gagarin, the first man in space, but not about how he died years later in an unexplained crash. You are told to celebrate, not to ask what really happened to your heroes. You are living in a world built on silence. During that era, launches were secret until they succeeded. Your news only came when things went right. When things went wrong, your government buried it under words like training incident or technical failure. You were fed victories, not truths. You believed your nations were advancing humanity, but they were hiding the dead. You think propaganda belongs to history books, but it still owns your understanding of space. You are not prepared for what came next. Because when the Soviets wanted to erase someone, they erased them completely. Faces disappeared from photos. Names vanished from records. One of those names was Grigory Nelyubov. He stood with the first team of cosmonauts, smiling like the rest. Then one day, he was gone. His face deleted from the same photo you once saw. You were told he misbehaved, but you know the truth feels heavier than that. You feel the chill of someone erased from your shared memory. You are seeing a pattern now. The pattern of lost cosmonauts whispered across radio waves and buried under state secrets. You might have heard rumors of 4 dead before Gagarin ever took off. A woman among them. The Soviets called them test subjects. Your newspapers printed it as speculation. Your world moved on. But you know every rumor has a pulse when governments fear exposure. You can sense the smoke of truth behind those classified lies. You can feel your trust unraveling. You hear another name, Vladimir Ilyushin. You are told he crashed his car. You are told he never went to space. But your instincts tell you that story smells of panic. You imagine a failed launch, a crash far from Soviet soil, perhaps in China, covered up before the world could know. You see how easily your governments rewrote history with a single press release. You see how your world has always been fed illusions, wrapped in patriotic words to keep your loyalty intact. You are starting to understand how far this deception went. In 1962, an American headline claimed the Soviets might have a corpse orbiting Earth. The phrase cosmic coffin was printed for you to read, while behind the scenes both sides laughed and denied everything. You see how even your media played along, spreading mystery when facts were forbidden. You have always been part of the audience, never the actor. You are the one being entertained while the truth floats somewhere above you. You realize this manipulation reached absurd levels. The Soviets even trolled your entire intelligence network. They sent a spacecraft called Zond 5 around the moon with 2 turtles and a tape recorder. The recording made it sound like real cosmonauts were about to land. Your analysts panicked. You see now how easily fear controls your perception. You are not just a spectator. You are the target of the performance. You were meant to feel small, to feel watched, to believe the myth. Your belief has always been the most valuable resource. When you believe in progress, you accept its casualties. When you believe in your side, you forgive its secrets. The Lost Astronaut myth feeds your curiosity because it exposes that weakness. It reminds you that what you see is not what you get. You crave the truth, yet you are drawn to the mystery. You tell yourself you want facts, but your attention thrives on danger. That is why this story has survived for decades. You remember the brothers, Giovanni and Achille Giudica Cordiglia, 2 Italians with cheap radios and endless curiosity. They listened from their rooftop just like you would have done. They captured signals no one else heard. They claimed they recorded heartbeats, breathing, and even the final words of a dying woman lost in orbit. You can feel your skin tighten imagining that sound. You can almost hear her voice fading, calling out for help that would never come. You know that sound would haunt your dreams forever. You are told the brothers were frauds. You are told they faked the tapes. But deep down, you wonder how they could have made such perfect noise. You picture them sitting in the dark, hands trembling, hearing the impossible. You think of their sister, fluent in Russian, translating those cries. You start to sense the irony. Maybe she was the voice all along. Maybe your need for tragedy created its own ghost. You realize how easily your mind accepts what it fears most. You cannot shake the feeling that something about their story is real. You know governments lie, media twists, and records vanish. You have seen that pattern repeat through every war, every cover-up, every scandal. You know the brothers could have stumbled upon something forbidden. You know truth can be silenced, but never erased. You can feel the static between fact and fiction buzzing in your ears even now. You are addicted to the uncertainty. You also understand how the world works. You know if a cosmonaut truly died alone in space, your governments would never admit it. You know their silence would be louder than any confession. You can picture the capsule burning, signals cutting off, transmissions fading under a storm of ionized air. You realize how every space re-entry hides a blackout. You never hear those minutes because they belong to the unknown. You sense how close you have always been to ghosts of the past. You see it clearly now. The myth of the lost astronaut is not about one person. It is about you. It is about your belief in the systems that feed you information, your trust in the heroes you are told to worship, your fear of seeing the truth too clearly. You have been conditioned to believe progress has no price. You are realizing that every triumph leaves someone behind. You are realizing that silence is not empty. It is full of erased voices that still echo in your imagination. You are standing at the edge of that silence now. You feel the cold vacuum pressing against your thoughts. You can almost see that drifting figure, turning slowly, radio fading, heartbeat slowing. You know it is more than a story. It is a reflection of your world, your blind loyalty, your craving for mystery. You cannot deny it anymore. The lost astronaut lives in your curiosity, in your hunger for forbidden truth, in your refusal to stop listening. You are the last receiver of that forgotten signal. You carry it in your thoughts now. You feel the echo, the weight, the message that keeps looping across time. You understand that truth and myth are no longer separate. You are part of the conspiracy just by knowing it exists. You do not need proof anymore. You only need to keep listening. You need to keep wondering what your governments never wanted you to hear. Because that is what keeps the lost astronaut alive. Your fascination, your silence, your belief.